To our our greatest part of the agenda, where everyone just fights to do it. So need an invocation. So I've never done an invocation. So maybe I'd like to go down in history today, commissioners.
Okay.
So go ahead and lead us in a prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for this new day and this new week, and we're very grateful, Heavenly Father, for the moisture that Thou hast blessed us with. Thank you for the snow and for the rain. We look forward to more, Heavenly Father. Please be with us as commissioners. Help us to make good decisions for our citizens in our county. Please be with our citizens in this new winter. Help them to get things sorted in their lives and bless them that they may be successful. Help us, Heavenly Father, as leaders to make good decisions, and please be with our national leaders and our state leaders as they meet this year. Help them to make good decisions on our policy. And Father, we pray for our meeting here today that we may be able to make good decisions, decisions that benefit our community. And help those that are in need, Heavenly Father. Help them to overcome their challenges and their barriers. And please be with our children, our families, and our communities, that they may be blessed, that they may go through and succeed in any hardships that they experience. And thank you, Heavenly Father, for all thy blessings. We say these things humbly in the holy and sacred name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please join us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much for that. Commissioners, if you had a chance to look through our agenda, do any of you have any conflicts you want to declare?
No.
That includes myself. I don't have any conflicts, so we're all clear for the record. We have no conflicts for today's meeting. Next item is our public comment section. Matt?
Okay, there was nobody that signed up in the audience for public comments. We only have, looks like, staff online. Doesn't look like there's a lot for public comment today.
Okay. Moving on to our consent agenda. Matt?
Okay, on your consent agenda item for today, you have the approval of the December 23rd, 2023 through January 9th, 2024 check registers. Approval of the December 19th, 2023 commission meeting minutes. Approval of the December small purchases of $9,727.62 for the San Juan County landfill diesel fuel purchase. You have $12,043 for the San Juan County Public Safety Building sewer grinder, and $67,300 for the Cal Black Airport parts and or service estimate to disassemble and dispose of batteries. That was kind of a last minute purchase. Kind of exceeds our threshold, and people would see that, no, it's not really a small purchase. We're kind of in emergency mode out there with our lights. The state of Utah is going to be helping us with the project to get us back and going and operational on the runway lights there. And so that's why you kind of seen it as a hurry up and get. It'll take several weeks for those batteries to come in. So we wanted to push forward for that. On item number 4, approval of the San Juan County TB prevention and control Amendment number 7 with the State of Utah Department of Health and Human Services, approval of the COVID-19 San Juan County Vaccine Supplemental Support Funding Amendment number 3, contract with the State of Utah Department of Health and Human Services. Item 6 is approval of the San Juan County Preschool Development Grant B5 Activity 6-23-25 Amendment number 1 with the State of Utah Department of Health and Human Services. Then you have the approval of San Juan County Public Health Infrastructure 2023 Amendment number 1 with the State of Utah Department of Health and Human Services. Item number 8, approval of the COVID-19 San Juan County Paycheck Protection Program and Healthcare Enhancement Act Expansion 2021 Amendment number 3 with the State of Utah Department of Health and Human Services. Item 9 is approval of the 2024 contract with Jones and DeMille Engineering to perform limited building inspection services. They continue to offer this as our staff continues to become educated in certain aspects of building code, licensing, and inspections. And so we still need them until our staff is fully educated with that. That today is your consent agenda items.
All right, Commissioners, that's 9 specific items under our consent agenda. How would you like to proceed?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Adams to approve
I'll
consent agenda
second
items.
it.
Second by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other comments or questions, Commissioners?
Do we must have a large fuel tank at the landfill to accommodate that amount? Or do we just,
That's really not that much, that's only about 2,500 gallons.
oh, it is?
Yeah.
That's not very much. But yeah, we do have a gas tank down there.
I got 1,000 gallon down to my ranch if you want me to want to store some there. Okay,
All right. Any other comments?
No.
Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor, say aye.
aye.
That's 3 in favor, unanimous. Moving on to our business action items. Number 10. Looks
Okay.
like, yep.
Consideration and approval of the Motorola Solutions Incorporated Service Agreement in San Juan County Sheriff Department. I'm not seeing the sheriff here. I'll go ahead. This one here, it relates to our service and software programs that have been migrating out to Price. This is the final piece, or before, in the past, I've brought to you the Motorola agreement to kind of allow them our ability to work and host that server and that system there in Price. And so it's kind of a move from here, allowing Motorola to continue to operate in that service, but install in Price itself. And so that's kind of, should be the final piece to everything being migrated. We've been working with IT to get rid of the state's internet system. That's kind of the last piece. Once this is migrated over, this will allow the sheriffs to continue to operate through Spillman and have all their GIS information. And then Motorola will be completely out of our building other than what we do for our VHF system.
So is this a contract, Matt?
It is a contract with Motorola.
And, it's for another year, looks like.
So, and then we're hoping that once we have this shared agency agreement in here with Price, that Price and UCA, so the Utah Communications Authority, will take a leading role in this, and then we will just continue to pay the service, the dispatch services. And that was, if you think back to the budget, and I know the budget's pretty big and a lot of line items in there, we budgeted money to continue to support and participate with them to do our dispatch services. And this is a component of that system that's moving.
Okay. Commissioners, you have any questions for the motion? Maybe.
I think what do we spend, Mac? $100,000 in 911. Is this 911 or not?
This is 911. Yep. And I'd have to look. Our service agreement includes blanding and
That's fine.
BLM entities like that. So I think it's around 80,000 if I remember right.
Okay.
Do they happen to have a coverage map, maybe that commissioners might be able to use for personal reference?
I could ask to see if they have that.
That
But then we also, you and I have to, you wanted to have a tour of that facility, and I continue to remind him, and I continue to look at your schedule
okay.
for a day. And so sometime this, as we're heading up north, all of
Yeah.
us have to pass through Price. It'd be good just to stop one day and go through there. They're aware that you're wanting to come and check them out, and just say, yeah, let us know. But I'll look for the service map. The service map, and it kind of gets difficult, and I think you had alluded to it last discussion that we had on 911 dispatch services. Sometimes those are routed depending where you're at within the county, or as far as workload as well, can route to like Shiprock. Shiprock is one of those that will be routed to certain different areas within the county. But on the backbone, what we see is, from my understanding of it, is they're all in communication one with another as well. So when it comes in for a call to support, it's pretty easy communication between the two, between Shiprock and Price.
Okay.
But I'll look to see if they have a coverage map that they have.
That might be helpful. I know when we had our emergency management meeting with Navajo Nation, there's still some issues with reception when it comes to the canyon and
Yeah.
anything below. And it'd be interesting to see if Motorola has solutions for those spots that are kind of spotty.
I think it's more on the Utah Communication Authority that is that. And
Okay.
so I've got maps that show our coverage on the emergency response side of it, and the UCA supports that. And I think the awesome thing with UNHS has also stepped up a role in providing towers throughout the county. Well, I've talked to our contracted vendor that does our radios about partnering with them, and I know UCA is also partnering with them to install their receivers, their transmitters on UNHS towers so that we can get better broadcast. Through that, we continue to work with Navajo Mountain to broadcast back this way. The towers that are up there right now kind of broadcast to the west, and we want it to broadcast back more to the north and east. So we continue to work with, but all of that is outside of Motorola's. That's more with the Utah Communication Authority that does that.
I just have a comment. I think, I don't know what would be the solution, but I think blinding, when they kind of call 911, you don't know your address sometimes, so you get nervous and you start saying, like, we had a family member that they had the line for the gas got caught in gas, dancing like a snake. And so they called 911, and of course the person stressed out and trying to tell them, across the Baptist church. Well, blinding people know where the Baptist church is.
Yeah.
People in Price do not know.
Correct.
So somehow we need to have a form to advertisement, I don't know, to inform the public the call is going to Price, and the
Okay.
people there probably don't know. And I don't know how we can do that, but it was kind of a tense moment. They're we're in a.
And they can always, if it's on a cell phone, they can always ping the phone back to try to find location on your cell service provider.
I think the person had lots of questions to start with, and the other person was stressed out trying to say it.
Yep.
So anyway,
Yeah, we can definitely put something on our website on there, just kind of broadcast it. We can talk to running just kind of an awareness ad in the newspaper so that that also goes out in the San Juan Record. Kind of alerting to people that common names may not be known, Church Rock Hill, things like that, the landmarks that may be unfamiliar to Price. And they also have the ability on their side of it to add that updated information to an area so that they can also become familiar with it. But it's not uncommon, and I've seen it more up along the Wasatch Front, where dispatch centers now they're all combining, so you lose that local dispatcher sense. So when you even up north, you're calling 911, they may not know those prominent landmarks that people are talking about, because they're all kind of combining under one umbrella to meet the needs.
All right, commissioners, that's the service agreement for Motorola with County Sheriff Department. How would you like to move?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Stubbs, seconded by Commissioner Adams. We all made our comments, I think. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor. Moving on to number 11.
Okay, consideration and approval of the 2024 LaSalle Transfer Station electrical contract. This one will be provided by Jed.
Hi, guys. So this is basically a contract that we've been working on since a year ago, October.
Even longer than that.
Yeah. Anyway, LaSalle, the people that Rocky Mountain Power has had have changed 4 and 5 different times in this process. They haven't ever gotten anybody that was certain and knew what they were doing, and they've gone through several estimators, and each one gave us a ballpark figure, and we moved forward with that, and that never did get to this contract form. They have a new lady they've turned it over to, and from what we can see, she's much better at her job, and she gets things done. And she has gotten this to the point to the contract. It's a little bit more than we had initially figured. Our initial figures were around 17 something, but I think that has a lot to do with the default of the fact that they didn't have estimators that were familiar with what they're doing as well. Anyway, the contract point is at about 25 something to get power there. And that's where we're at.
All right, commissioners.
And they're ready to roll with it, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract.
Motion by Commissioner Adams to approve,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Can they do that right away?
Yeah, they're just waiting on the contract.
Perfect.
So I think we're completed on our end and ready for the power to come. So I think we're just a matter of once they get the contract, we're ready to rock and roll.
They'll actually have heat out there.
We've had a little propane heater in there, and that's helped her a lot, but to have the station attendant we have is getting elderly, and she's quite old, and at some point she'll probably retire and leave us, and who knows what we get, and that'll give us the ability to, if we have to, run evening hours. If someone has another job and wants to just open for a few hours in the evening, it'd give us the ability to keep it open that way too. Anyway, and then just for information, the walls started standing up on the new scale house this morning. So
I was going to ask that.
anyway, appreciate it. Appreciate all you've done for us.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. That's 3
Thank
in
you.
favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jed.
Moving on to item 12, right?
All right, consideration and approval of the Utah Outdoor Recreational Trails Matching Grant Fund contract with San Juan County. This is Elaine.
This is our second grant that we received toward this project. So we can use up to $150,000 of this grant, which I think we'll probably end up using. But fortunately for us, they lowered the requirement of the match to 20% for San Juan County. So if we do use 150,000, it'll be a 30,000 match, and we can split it between 2 years because we have up to 2 years to use the funding. So construction could start this year. We're finishing up the NEPA. We're waiting on everything, and we have to wait for the mule deer and the milk vegetation plant. There's like all of these things that
Prerequisite.
get in our way. So, it might be like on a Tuesday, the third month at 3:00 when we have a, full moon, we might be able to start moving some dirt out there. Who knows?
Is this Mud Springs?
This is for Mud Springs. So, and while Grand County has claimed it, that it's in there, they're in their newspapers and they're talking all about it. I'm hoping to do an interview with the local newspaper to talk about all that we are doing for this. So I'm like,
But that new sign's going to help.
it certainly.
This is San Juan County.
Make a big one and it'll be an interview, so it'll be in the back.
So the outdoor recreation, the Department of Outdoor Recreation, FRITA, has been very supportive to this program. So I'm thrilled that they're giving us this funding. And so anyway, we're on track, and the BLM has been very supportive. Everybody's working together to make this happen because they all want it to happen.
Are you aware
For
of
the valley.
Legislation going through this legislative session on using 40% of sales tax for outdoor recreation to deal with impacts in the counties from outdoor recreation? Do you know about that bill?
I haven't heard that bill yet, but it's
Coming.
coming up for a vote.
Okay. Good.
Of the sales, 40% of sales tax revenue.
Of sales tax revenue for outdoor
Recreation.
recreation items, like clothing or things like that.
Well, I don't think that's a bad thing, because if they use backpacks and they're buying all of these different,
Whack bags.
Then the counties can apply for that for search and rescue.
yeah,
Pick up the garbage.
we're going to need it here because of our loss of
The TRT.
transient room tax,
Yeah. Right.
hundreds of thousands of dollars of
Right.
transient room tax. So I say let's.
Yeah, that's a bill that we
That's been-
discussed at UAC this morning.
Yeah, and I want to say that that's been a conversation in prior years. I know when I was in Grand, they talked about taxing, but I don't think it got off the ground. The other thing I'd like to see is us being able to collect sales tax on the gas stations that prepare foods, fast foods, because they're getting more and more.
Food.
They're preparing more foods, and they're customizing if you want something. I don't know if that's come up at all, but I think sales tax from that could really help us quite a bit. So,
Okay.
All
I
right.
just want to say, when we went to St. George, all the legislatures got together and we voted on items that we want to pursue. And then we divided into committees. And so today was kind of hectic here because we were having meetings on Zoom that were supposed to be, because today is the first day they start talking about those bills that we're gonna be created and we're gonna support. And so I am in the community development part. What is yours?
Health and social.
Oh, health and commission items, resources, natural
Public
resources,
lands.
or something like that. So they have 4 or 5, and it was nice because we all voted and decided
Right.
this is how we need to work. Instead, in the past, we just go and try to support
That's
all
good
the
that
bills
they-
that people are doing, and that's help us. This way, we are more organized, and I kind of excited to see the bill from the beginning to the end, see how it moves, and so.
I'll have to look at the bill for the sales tax.
Well, I don't think have been created yet. They just have a number. They have numbers Probably he'll have a number that you
Well, I
can
do
follow.
hope that the state and whatever they do with outdoor recreation does tend to focus a little bit more on our needs here in San Juan County to help us to support.
I'll get you a copy of that bill.
Yeah, okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Awesome.
And you should have access to the bill tracker.
I
don't
think
know
I
if
do
that's
because
still-
I'm on that. I signed up for
Yeah,
that, so I'll look
as-
for it.
If you watch the bill tracker,
Yeah, it'll be there.
it'll be there too. I
Okay.
haven't signed in yet, and so we need to.
Yeah, I think UT has sent something out this morning. I haven't looked at it
Okay.
yet, but I'll check it out.
Okay.
Cool.
Very good, commissioners. How would you like to proceed?
Make a motion that we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Adams
grant
to
funds.
approve the grant funds.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you,
Doing good.
commissioners, for your
Good job.
support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lena.
Right, moving on to the next item.
Okay, item number 13, consideration and approval of comments on the sage-grouse RMP amendment EIS. This is Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Nick.
You may or may not be aware that BLM, Colorado, and Utah have issued a draft resource management plan amendment, and an EIS for the Gunnison sage grouse. And this is open for public comment. It was from November 9th through February 6th. And these documents are part of a process that actually began in 2014, way back there, even shortly before the Gunnison sage grouse was designated a threatened species under the Endangered Species Act. Now, the EIS includes a planning decision area, and I don't know if that map is, might have to turn that around. The planning decision area encompasses BLM-administered lands and federal mineral lands within San Juan County, and our portion of it is basically northeast, east, and southeast of Monticello. And this area also includes the federally designated critical habitat, which was designated at the time of the threatened species designation. Now, the EIS includes 5 alternatives: 1, the no action alternative, the present situation, and 4 action alternatives, and one of those is a specific alternative E, for the Gunnison Basin in Colorado, where the sage grouse are. The population is actually doing fairly well. Not so well here in San Juan County. Now, alternative D is the preferred alternative, and most of the comments in the letter before you for your consideration are directed to this alternative. And the management prescriptions are the issues that were analyzed in this EIS include prescriptions for vegetation management, livestock grazing, wildland fire, recreation, travel, minerals, lands and realty, and renewable energy. Now, the proposed management prescriptions are designed to either maintain or promote the recovery of Gunnison sage grouse habitat, so as the eventual long-term goal of recovery of the species, so it would no longer have to be listed as threatened. In addition, certain areas of critical environmental concern are proposed in some alternatives for the protection of Gunnison sage grouse habitat. However, no ACECs are proposed for San Juan County in the preferred alternative D. And you may be aware that San Juan County has been a cooperating agency in this process since its beginning. Now, to give you a little perspective on this whole situation, the EIS and the RMP amendment, the decisions for this resource management plan would apply only to BLM administered lands, as well as federal minerals lands, and which may be private surface with federal minerals, which would be the prime right there. And those BLM lands and the federal mineral lands are the minority in this RMP analysis area. In San Juan County, there were 146,000 acres designated as critical Gunnison sage-grouse habitat. And within that 146,000 acres, 4,630 acres are actual BLM surface, so only 3% of that total. And then if you consider the BLM surface as well as the federal minerals, there's a total of 20,000 some odd acres of that 146,000 acre total. And the 146,000 acres is a part within this analysis or decision area that is on the map. Now, the overriding influence in this whole plan is the threatened status of the Gunnison sage grouse, federal threatened status under the Endangered Species Act. So the management actions are consistent with the recovery plan that was developed in 2020 for the sage grouse. And just some of the highlights of this management that we would see in the proposal is that livestock grazing in the area would continue, and they would be managed on an individual allotment basis. There are no broad brush season of use proposals or other things. It's all basically individual allotment analysis in this. Travel would likely be not affected because the plan would not try to control county roads. And most of the roads in this area are county class B, the Bravo roads, and they are, in fact, generally on the edges of the BLM surface areas anyway. Now, the impact is probably going to come in minerals and energy, because the proposals, say, for instance, in oil and gas, would be for no surface occupancy. And the present management for fluid minerals is either controlled surface use or timing limitations, but surface occupancy is allowed. So that's one of the comments that is made in the letter. And this could have a negative impact on investors, developers, exploration companies that may want to do seismic work in the area for oil and gas or other minerals.
Or mineral owners.
Now, wind and solar energy are specifically... Go ahead.
That could have a negative impact on mineral owners,
Yes,
the proposed action,
that's correct. Yes,
which are significant in
Yes.
that area.
yes. And that this is in a high potential for oil and gas development,
Yeah.
as well as I think there's some potash potential in that area too. And several years ago, the county introduced some legislation to designate it was called an energy zone for San Juan County, and that included most of the eastern part of the county with these high potential minerals. And of course, the Gunnison sage grouse habitat is right within that energy development area.
Is that just coincidence?
Now say again.
It's just a coincidence, or it's
No,
part of
Just
the risk?
coincidence.
You know,
Grouse
do you ever
happened
play the game risk? You know, when you just keep moving.
Yeah, grouse happen to be there. Also, oil and gas potential is high there. So, and I was going to mention that wind and solar energy developments are precluded or excluded from this area in the plan because of impacts to Gunnison sage grouse. And I thought about how can we try to resolve that or get some wiggle room in there, and I don't know that we really can. There may be an option when it comes right down to it on a project that if that area is determined actually not to be habitat, even though it's within the critical designated area, there is that provision for individual site-specific analysis to determine whether that area should be or could be excluded from the prescriptions. Now, that's probably a tough hill to climb to get that exclusion, but that is in there. So just so you are aware of that wind and solar would likely not be allowed on the federal surface. And I'm not sure how that might play with the federal minerals, the subsurface. But otherwise, on the 96% of private land that's within the critical habitat, that's still the landowner's discretion However, you've still got this umbrella of influence with a threatened species designation, which could affect it regardless of whatever this resource management plan says. So that's basically kind of a quick summary, the gist of the whole thing, and the letter before you has some comments from the county, and I have worked to some degree with the Public Lands Policy Office on this, and they have not yet sent or issued their comment letter, but they are aware of San Juan County's concerns, and they said they would likely build our concerns into their comments also. So I know this hit you cold, basically. Any questions you might have on the comments or the whole process?
Commissioner Adams?
Well, I don't have any questions, but I have some comments.
Okay.
It just perplexes me because the federal government continues to push this whole idea of habitat when in actuality there is no birds. They claim the habitat is there. It's not a coincidence, Sylvia, that habitat exists mostly on private property, which we have very little of in San Juan County. It also is perplexing to me that the Gunnison sage grouse are doing very well in Gunnison, Colorado. I'm not sure they're increasing in population, but they're surely maintaining the population. I think there's
It's
over
the healthiest
4,000
population there is.
Yeah. And why they don't focus their efforts on the populations in and around Gunnison, Colorado for the Gunnison sage grouse, and for hell's sakes, leave us alone in Utah. But they just want to focus on that private property because they're number one afraid that we're going to develop some minerals in that area on those private properties that they have this big umbrella over. So it's just unbelievable to me what they're doing to those private mineral holders in our county, and continue to just act like there's going to be birds there at some time, when we know that they're protecting every enemy of the bird. Federal Fish and Wildlife is protecting every enemy, the eagles, the crows, the coyotes, the foxes, everything's protected. And they just continue to decimate the Gunnison sage grouse in San Juan County. But you and I have had this conversation 100 times, so
As I mentioned, that's the whole other issue, is that designation of threatened.
Yep.
That flavors all of this document.
So how did they figure that the birds will go there but not to more BLM land? I mean, how did they figure it's going to come to the...
They don't.
I know.
There's no control on wildlife.
I know.
And it just
It is so obvious. We have 6% of the whole county where we can sustain ourselves. If this will come to effect, there goes... Like I said before, we can get beautiful cages with gold and crystal and be waiting when the birds come, and we'll carry them to Colorado so they can have friends. I don't know. I don't know how people keep getting away with things like this, but we are just being pushed. I remember when we first moved to Blanding, we had logging. We had lots of oil being developed. We had lots of things, and little by little, we are being left to almost nothing. And I think that, you just feel so powerless when they start doing things like this, and it's all by design. I know it's all by design. And so if they own the minerals and you own the land, but you can't do anything because they own the minerals, and so they have all. You have to give it. They're very creative, and they're getting away with things, and it is a sad thing because it's the people that take care of the land that they feed the nation. They're the ones that feeding the nation. In the end, what's going to happen? We'll just get a bottle of pills that we have to swallow and not enjoy barbecues and all this stuff. I don't know. It's really upsetting when, I feel like, in a commissioner, but you got no power. They can keep coming and chopping and taking, and this is one thing that doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Because it's not like the birds are being killed or the birds are around. So the next thing they're going to do, they're going to start transplanting the birds and bringing them here. I better not give them that idea.
And San Juan County has voiced opposition to that in the past, and that's basically, as I remember reading in the recovery plan, that was still honored, that there were no plans to transplant birds into San Juan County, as there were in some of the other satellite populations. But yes, certainly valid comments, and the whole thing boils down to that threatened federal designation of the bird, regardless of what this plan would say. So this is just kind of a piece or a step down from that whole umbrella coverage on the threatened status.
We appreciate your work, and I'm not getting after you or anything. It is sad. I think that how we've been treated, people come and I tell how big San Juan County, and they think, wow, you guys have so much. No, we have so little.
Yes.
We just have lots of land and nobody can do anything. No matter how much people think they're gaining land, they're not gaining land.
Sylvia, do you think we ought to file a lawsuit? You were talking about there don't have any lawsuits going on.
I don't know. I don't think. No,
Mitch could handle that. He could.
on his own.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I just keep thinking, where are they going to come next? The dinosaur used to live around here. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll take Spanish Valley for the dinosaurs. I mean, really. I mean, I just being honest, and I feel bad because
Has the state filed a lawsuit on the grouse?
I don't think so.
You don't
Not
think
that
they
I
have?
recall.
They just objected to it. along with
Probably,
us.
yeah.
anyway.
All right, commissioners, we got a letter. Opportunity to comment. How do we want to proceed?
Make a motion, we approve the letter and have Nick send it.
Motion by Commissioner Adams to approve the letter.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Stubbs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's 3 in favor. Thank you, Nick.
Hey, Nick, can you decipher this notice of proposed withdrawal extension? Have you seen that letter?
I just picked it up. I didn't read it
It
yet.
just came
Okay,
in the
well,
mail.
we need to interpret it
It just came in the
sometime.
mail.
No, I think that was in, what, Tres Rios, Colorado area?
Well, it states in the back there in the index, it shows some Utah.
Okay, so it does
They
include
just
some
opened
Utah.
that comment
Yeah.
All right,
period.
yes, I will look at this.
It's 2
Thank
pages.
We
you.
read
worth,
it
yeah.
and we can't interpret it. So.
Well, I'll try.
Okay.
All
The
right.
federal government writes things in code.
Yeah.
Totally. So this next one, consideration approval of letter of request for the meeting draft Bears Ears plan. This also Nick.
Okay, well, the situation here is that BLM and Forest Service are continuing work on the Bears Ears draft, Bears Ears management plan. And this was supposed to have been released to the public back in November 17th of last year. And we had a cooperating agency meeting with the agencies on November 6th, just prior to that proposed release date, planned release date. But for whatever reason, the document was not released on that date. And that's been, 2 months now behind schedule. So we're not sure what's happening and whether the draft, any changes that the team is working on, whether those are going to be consistent or close to what maybe the cooperating agencies had suggested at this November 6th private meeting. So Flipco had sent a letter last week to the agencies requesting another meeting of the cooperating agencies, San Juan County, the cities, etc., with the agencies before they release this document to the public for the 90-day comment period. And we're hoping that if we could get that other meeting, we could have some more discussion and just see what their latest draft is and whether that's going to be consistent or inconsistent or how far out of line it might be with our local plans. And that'd give us another opportunity, hopefully, to maybe make those changes so that they could be consistent. So basically, this is a request, and Flipco had already sent their request last week, and they notified us and said, if you want to join on this request, you're welcome to do so. So it seems like a good idea that we should request this meeting. So that's what this letter before you says.
Commissioners, need a motion?
I'll second Sylvia's motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Stubbs, second
I was
by
just looking
Commissioner
at the
Adams.
letter. Yeah.
Any other comments, commissioners?
No,
Okay.
Thank
All those in
you.
favor?
Aye.
I.
It's 3 in favor. Motion carries.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Sit right there.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
I sent you a copy of a letter from Duchesne County.
Okay.
And we have 2 days to comment on this, and hopefully you and Mac can work on it together. It's to the Secretary of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The subject is self-regulating organization, the New York Stock Exchange. Notice of filing a proposed rule change to amend the New York Stock Exchange Listing Company Manual to adopt listing standards for natural asset companies. And I think that's a code word for letting outside interests come into the United States and purchase public lands within the United States, which we're opposed to here in San Juan County, and I think every county in the nation. Would you look over that draft letter from Duchesne County and see if we can draft one that's more specific to San Juan County and get that sent to them by the 18th?
Yeah.
I hate to
Okay.
spring that on you.
Do that.
That's
Sure.
2 days.
When you said SEC, I thought, well, that's over me.
No,
We can help you.
no, this is these adverse interests trying to purchase land in the United States that I think don't have the same goals as we do here.
With special farmland, they're acquiring farmlands all over the United States and so.
All right, yes, I'll look at that.
Okay,
We'll get something.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, this next one is consideration and approval of a multi-county appraisal trust software PUMA program for the county. This is Rick.
Okay, commissioners, we're asking you this morning just to sign, it's a contract with the MCAT group at the state level to use the PUMA system for our appraisal software. And we started using this software in 2022, and it's and our old software was gone. It was dead. And we had no support from the company, and it cost us $14,000 a year, flat fee to use their software. And this one is a contract to where we can use this Puma software. It's going to cost us about $2 per hour of use. And so at this point, I don't know how many hours we're going to be using this per year. We expect a few hundred hours, on this. And, if we used it every hour, that'd be about $4,000 per year.
Wow.
So 2,000 hours of man time. But we should be less than that. So next year we'll have this in our budget, make sure it's in our budget and everything else. But they wanted us to have you sign this and get it back to them so that we can have this contract in place.
So do you have money to pay for it within your budget this year?
Should.
Okay.
And we can, probably mid-year, by June, when we do our mid-year look, we'll see how much,
So you
where's that.
so you had the money that you were paying for the other program. They
Well,
would,
yeah, we just dropped that out of our budget because we never
yeah.
had
it
14,000.
Yeah.
So we are saving 14,000 in our budget. So this will probably cost us a couple $1,000s this year. But we have it in our budget. I think we stayed quite a bit under our budget last year, a few $1,000s.
I think we had it was originally 5,000 for coins access, and you bumped that to 7,000. So we've got,
Right.
if you're less on coins, then we should
We
get
should be
$2,000 extra there. So
Yeah.
we'll, and kind of like you to let's evaluate it mid-year and just see where we're at.
Right.
See if we need to put more money into
It
it.
is a really good software program. We're enjoying using it, and we do have local support. Our local support person is in Price, so she is very
And
close.
that's important. If you have a program you don't have support, you can't use it. That's not do any good.
Right.
And well, I'm in favor of supporting.
And this is the only one we have.
Yeah.
That's what we're using. This is it. So
Isn't the state holistically going to this program
yes, for all counties,
for all counties? And so
eventually.
my understanding that there was potentially going to be a legislative bill to help fund this. I don't know if you're aware of
I
that.
don't know. I
Okay.
haven't heard.
We'll
that.
track it. When they were down, they had mentioned that there's going to be some legislative bills that are going to be coming forward to unify these systems across the board so that every county is doing the same. And so hopefully this is one of it that can help.
Yes. Yeah,
But even
so-
at $2,
Have you
Yes.
It's not bad.
talked to any other assessors that have used it or intend to use it?
So Grand County's using it.
Grand
I
County?
think Emery County's. I mean, there's quite a number of counties. I think we're up to probably 15 or more counties. The large counties have their own software people. They actually have IT people that develop their software program, like Utah County and Salt Lake. Smaller counties, we have to band together and use a software program that's going to be useful and working for us. And this one seems to be a good one.
All right,
So I
Commissioners,
just need a
request-
signature.
request for an agreement with Puma.
So I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Stubbs to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Adams. Any other questions?
No.
I do know I know Jill Brown at MCAT. Do you know Jill?
I do.
Yeah, she used to work
She's
for
sharp.
UAC, and she's really on the ball gal.
Yeah, this is good. I mean, we don't have anything else to go to. I mean, that's one of the problems. And we do have support. We know how to use it after 2 years, and we have a lot of information. So if I could have you, Commissioner, sign this so I can send it to him today or tomorrow.
Rose
be
has got
wonderful.
it as well.
So
It's
we have-
good to start with something new in the beginning of the year. Kind of gives you a new toy to have. A good toy. A good toy.
well, it's a resource. It's a tool.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I call it a toy.
You want to sign this right
Let
now?
us vote on it.
Yeah, we got a
Oh, okay.
motion and
Got
a second. Let's all those in favor.
Aye.
That's 3 in favor. That's motion carries to approve. Great.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
if you will sign this.
Well, Rose has got it in her packet for signatures. And we'll do that. We'll get it after
Okay, so
the
it's
meeting.
gonna be
And
back.
so that way you can continue on. You're on to the next one
Yeah.
as
Okay, I'm
well.
gonna,
Well, thank you.
So,
you're
yeah.
sure welcome, thank you, because
Thank you for all you do.
we have to have something to put our information in.
Yeah.
And this is working for us.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the next one, I'm gonna turn the time over to Randy Rarick with our, so the next two are regarding personal property, and I'll do the fourth one. So Randy's doing our personal property, and I'm gonna just let him
Okay.
go ahead with this.
This is consideration and approval of the uncollectible accounts from 2009 to 2014 state statute removal is this item.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Commissioners. So before you should have hard copies. And I'll answer any questions. We'll start with the short version. We'll see how far this goes, okay? I'll answer any questions that I have. But within our coin system that you heard about just a little bit ago, that's how we handle our inventory of our personal property and our billing and our collection on our personal property. We started using that system back in 2009. All right, so as I was hired into this position in 2022. Didn't really know a lot about it. We got into the first billing in 2022. Didn't really know what to look for, what buttons to hit to make things happen. In 2023, increased our knowledge and we started hitting the button that says collect previous years. So it would take the current year's taxes and then it was supposed to add the prior year's taxes to it when we sent out our billing. And stumbled onto the fact that it was increasing the numbers, but when I would go look back to the year or 2 years previous, there was no money owed. And so I started going back further and further. And you can see on the spreadsheet here, there's money clear back from 2009 that was owed that we had never collected on. And so that's kind of how we got to this. We stumbled onto it that there were past things that were owed. So if you look at the spreadsheet that I put together for you, there's some state statutes on this that kind of take our ability to do certain things away. Anything in the red, which would be from 2014 back to 2009, we've missed the opportunity to collect that money. The state only gives you guidelines on how to collect from 8 years old and forward. Any of this stuff would be prior to that. So it's on our books right now, and it's kind of messing us up when we go to try to collect the money. It's trying to go back into those years and say, hey, there's, some money owed on this. We can't collect it. So, and Rick, jump in here if you need to, but in our discussions, we said it kind of makes it easy for us on that. We can't collect it. So we need to get it off our books. So we would ask you as a commission, and again, I don't want to make this a lesson on anything, but as a commission in this format, you control taxes. You can eliminate somebody having to pay these taxes. We don't have the ability to make that decision ourselves. So that's what we would ask is in the red sections that you give us the permission to just wipe that off of our books. It's money that we should have collected that we
I'm
didn't.
not seeing the red section.
So it's purple, red letters.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mac. It's a different spreadsheet. It should be this one right here.
Okay, let me see if she added that.
Should be the next, maybe that one.
This one right here?
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think there's like 3 pages of it. We tried to, it's a pretty complex spreadsheet, but we tried to make it as easily understandable as possible.
So it's all of these in orange then?
No. See the red at the top where it's got 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then if you go to the bottom of it, it gives you the totals by year. That's there just above the red 2009. Just above that is the $569. That would have been money that we should have collected in 2009 that was never collected. So you can follow all that over to 2014. And then if you go to the next page, I tried to do a little explanation. Go one more page if you would. If you look into the red box right there, it'll tell you that these are the years that we cannot collect the delinquent taxes. They're too old. We need to write these off. They total up to $13,327. So again, this doesn't need to come out of a budget. It should have been collected, and it was never collected. So we just need to get it off our books. Okay? Any questions on the red stuff?
What are we going to do moving forward?
We're not going to let this, well, I mean, we're going to do everything we can in our power not to let this happen, but some people just don't pay their taxes.
Well, I noticed at the very top, there's Aramark there.
Yeah.
$25,000 or something.
Yeah. Aramark, we're currently waiting for two checks actually from Aramark that will clear that off. They were audited. We audited them last year, and it's been a process, but we're expecting two checks that should be coming that'll
So
wipe
you
that
think you've settled that
that'll
issue?
wipe that amount out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so any questions about the 2014 and back stuff? Again, we really don't have a choice on what we're doing with that. But again, it doesn't have to come out of a budget. Okay? We just need you to allow us to write it off. Okay? If we get into the green area, those columns that are in green, this is where the state again comes back and says that you can only go back 8 years to collect those unpaid taxes. From anything from 4 years to 8 years, you can still collect them. But in order to do so, you have to go through the court system. You have to get a judgment against the individual or a decree. And I can't even tell you what a decree is. I didn't look up what it is. But what I did look up,
Mitch, what's a decree?
okay. What I did look up on the judgment side of things is it allows you to go to the courts and have the courts issue a judgment against the person that owes you the money. And if they still don't want to pay, then you can garnish their wages and you can get the money paid back to you that way. Now, again, we're talking two different things here. We've got some businesses, and then we've got, so the businesses would be the BU accounts. The HT accounts are mobile homes. Some of the mobile homes are owned by businesses. Most of the mobile homes are rentals, so the people don't own the property in most cases that the mobile home's sitting on. So again, there's a method that you can go through and seize their property and sell it. In our office, working with the trailer homes, we feel it's in the county's best interest to not do that. We could end up seizing a mobile home, trying to sell it at auction, and it doesn't sell, and we own it. And then we have to pay the lot rents, and we have to pay for disposal. That's not something that we would prefer to do. So the columns in green, we're looking for a little guidance from the commission on that. Again, you have the authority to do away with those back owing taxes. Or you can instruct us to go and get decrees or the judgments against every one of them and try to collect those taxes, and there's no guarantee that we will. Or you can tell us to seize the property and sell it. Puts us at risk. Again, it's not something that we'd prefer to do, but there's back taxes owing. So that in the green, those are our options.
I just basically for my own education and a question what you trying to do. Okay, we have the red, which are more recent than the green.
The red are older.
Older.
Oh, they're older. Okay, that's okay. So the red is in the bottom. I was just looking the red. Yeah, you had another red before here on the side. So okay, now that answered my question because I couldn't figure out why we could do the green but not the red. Anyway, okay.
Okay. So again, with the green, for your consideration, do you want to tell us you're okay with writing those off and we're not gonna go after people's paychecks? Or are you gonna tell us that you want us to continue to try to collect those going through the courts? I think our recommendation is that we
we have worked with Mitch on
Yes.
on many of these, and Mitch's time is valuable. And we're running, people just don't wanna pay, they'll say, go, take us to court, take us. Like Aramark. Eric Mark's got more lawyers than we have, and they'll just keep postponing.
So we end up paying more money on lawyers than what we collect. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
All right. So in the green column, the total, if you go to the last page, I don't know if you want to keep bouncing back and forth, but
Yeah, I'm just trying to follow you.
the
Yeah.
total for the green column there, if you look at the explanation, it says the years that we can try to collect, but we need a judgment or a decree. That total is $21,197. Now, again, it's not coming out of a budget. Okay, it's just stuff that was owed to us that we have not collected.
So those people, they didn't pay those. Are they current or they still not paying going forward?
Some are still not paying.
Some are still not paying.
Still
That
not
would
paying.
just narrow it down to those years, and there are
Okay.
some
They're still not
that
paying.
didn't pay in the red, they didn't pay in the green, and they're not paying in the pink.
Okay, and so the people in the pink, are they getting a pinky letter telling them?
We've sent letters.
so
Everybody
it's
that's
just
delinquent,
Basically, they are just by.
they're just not paying, challenging us to take the next step. We could do that. We haven't done that as of yet, but we've sent letters. We've worked with Mitch. We've sent 3 letters. We've threatened to seize their assets. I mean, nobody likes taxes,
Yeah,
right?
no.
But
I just sometimes they have public notice where people are selling property. The people haven't paid the taxes. Is that something that we do sometimes or not? Still not
Well,
doing that.
again, most
and,
of
I-
these-
and I'm not questioning you guys. I just trying to learn.
Right. So again, most people that have the taxes on the mobile home, they may own the home, but it's in a lot and they're renting the lot space. And, you can call up the owner of the lot and say, hey, your tenant on, spot 10 hasn't paid their taxes. Maybe you can put a bug in their ear. They might, but if they don't pay the taxes, they don't care. It's the person that owns the home and they just don't pay.
And these are personal property taxes.
Yes, personal
Which is
property.
different than real property taxes. You don't really have too big a problem with real property taxes
Oh.
because if you don't pay them, they automatically go to sale without you doing anything, basically. And then you can foreclose on them and you're ahead of the mortgage or anything like that. So the real property kind of takes care of itself.
Okay, that's
So
what.
this is like the business has machinery, equipment, computers, hotels that have coffee tables, furniture. That's what you're talking about here. Also, mobile homes fall under the category of personal property if they're not attached to the land. So that's the kind of tax. So far, they've been very good at sending out these letters. Most of the letters came from their office. I have sent out letters on my letterhead, but that's about the extent of it. If you wanted to, it would be easy to take each one of these and file a complaint in court. I don't see them winning, and so I think it would be fairly easy to obtain a judgment or a decree. But then once you obtain the judgment or decree, then you have to figure out how to get paid. It's just a piece of paper that says, court orders, you have a judgment in favor of San Juan County. So we either have to garnish wages if it's kind of on the personal side. If it's on a business side, the best way to do it is to take the equipment and sell it. But then again, you've got the expense of rounding up the equipment, of posting, of publishing notice for sale, storing the equipment, and all that. So I guess that's the question. we can certainly get the judgment, and I think some of them, if they got a judgment, might force them to come to the table a little bit more and pay some of the taxes. But then if they don't, like say, you'd have to initiate some proceedings. One easy way to do it would be to garnish their bank account, to find out what if the company has a corporate account and they've got $10,000 sitting in the bank, boom, you could, all you do is submit a writ of attachment or garnishment to the bank, and boom, you get the money. So that's what I guess probably the question Randy's asking you is, do you want to write off that and call it a day, or do you want to proceed and try and get a judgment and then try collection efforts?
Well, another thing I see is it's not like they had tons of people working in their office. You only had 2. So you may go try to make pennies over here and you're losing dollars over here. So I, and the same thing with you. I mean, we are kind of stretched with attorneys.
There would be a cost. There would be
So
a cost to try to
it's a cost on time and cost on neglecting other things that can be done to generate money for sure instead of trying to. So
again, Rick and I talked about this, and we said, what's our position? I mean, the law is pretty clear on what you should be doing. And again, as the body that you're sitting in right now, you have the ability to say, no, just write that stuff off and let's move forward. We can't make that decision. So, but I believe that's our position for the green and the red is let's just zero out those accounts. The pink now, if I'm jumping ahead a little bit, the pink, we have everything within the law and the statutes that we can still do on this. But anybody that doesn't pay their 2020, it's going to be in the green.
Yeah, appreciate green and pink. Yes. And so that is the downside is trying to figure out, because if they got away all this time, they'll keep doing it. So when I think about now, and I think about, workloads and things like that, and
one
and
comment
that's
here. Just, excuse me. So one comment. The green items, we have done about everything we can. Send them letters, all kinds of stuff. Talked to Mitch over here, and Mitch has helped us. We're pretty much at a dead end with a lot of these people. Some of them are dead. We actually have some dead people on these accounts.
And so
somebody's paying their property taxes, but their personal property is just sitting out there, and we're wondering what to do.
Anyway, so
Okay, and I think the question was asked, Bruce, did you ask how are we going to make sure this doesn't happen going forward? So all along through all this, whoever, and I'm not here to name names or point fingers, but had the system been managed properly, as you get to the end of a year and you have delinquent taxes, you can roll the delinquency forward into the next year. And that wasn't being done. Okay, today, this year, we're not closing out the books on 2023 yet. When 2023 is closed, we're going to take everything that's delinquent in 2023 and move it into 2024. And we can actually do that with the 20, 21, 22, and 23. The state law says we just can't go any further back than that. So we can roll these forward, but as Rick just said, I mean, some of them are going to continue to show uncollectible because somebody owned a trailer house, it's sitting somewhere, and they died, and nobody's bought it. And we need to spend time in the field making those calls. And it could be, too, that our records didn't catch up and the trailer was sitting someplace and it was moved, and we were never notified. And so we keep sending bills that they don't pay because there's nothing there. So we need to spend time in the field to look at that stuff. So, and that's our plan this next year too, again, to make sure this stuff doesn't happen going forward. So, Any other questions on this? I think, and as we pointed out, all these other ones, as we sit here today, we have a total in the pink, a total of $33,000 that we still need to try to collect using whatever means that we can, short of the decree or the judgment. We'll still send letters. Our plan is to start knocking on doors and, like I said, get into the field. So we're not really asking you to do anything about the pink other than, let us continue to do our job and whatnot and see what we can do. That doesn't mean we're not going to come back to you next year and have to say these were uncollectible and we need to write these off. That may happen. So any other questions on any of this?
Commissioners, what I just want to point out is that on our item, where it says we're just going to address the uncollectible, which is 09 to 14.
On the public noticing?
On the public
Yeah.
noticing.
Yeah.
Maybe at our next meeting, we can bring back the conversation for that in the green to make official action on that. Because that's not on our agenda right now. But ultimately, the one in the red is, and that's up for us to consider to approve writing off, basically, is what it is.
Well, I think they're recommending we write off that in the red and the green. I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Adams to write off 2009 to 2014, and then 2015 to 2019. Seconded by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other comments or questions, Commissioners?
No.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor. Okay, they've been approved to remove.
All right,
Okay,
Mac, did
so
you need to
got
announce
this
it?
one. Consideration and approval to refund overpaid past due personal property accounts from 2023. Tell me if this is the spreadsheet I should be looking at.
The purple and blue one. That one will be the next one right there
So
that I
the,
think
the
Rick's
ones that we were at.
go back to
originally.
the first one that you had tried to pull up.
This one.
Okay, so, yep.
Okay.
Okay, so this one we stumbled onto much the same that we did the others in that things weren't carried forward from one year to the next. Now we're talking about overpayments, okay? Somebody gets a bill for $100 and sends a check for $200. What had happened in the past was that $200 was deposited and the money was put into an account, okay? At the end of that year, the treasurer's office took all the money that was in that account and distributed it to the entities that had the money coming to them on a certain percentage. Their whole concern, rightfully so, was to not have any money left in the account. Whatever was collected needed to be sent out. But there was a breakdown in communication because nobody in the treasurer's office was being notified that when $100 was expected but $200 was received, there was no overpayment created, and that money just sat in that account until they cleared it out. So in essence, what happened is they were issuing more money out than what we were really supposed to be collecting. Now, they had the money to issue because we collected more than we should have. Had this been managed properly, that overpayment would have gone from the year that it was collected into the next year, and then the bill that the taxpayer got would have been reduced by the amount that they overpaid. I stumbled onto this the same way that I did the others. I was going, hey, wait a minute, well, the math doesn't work, and so had to go back in time. Now, this one gets a little more complicated as far as how to make it right. We have a state statute that tells us that if a taxpayer overpays on their personal property tax, we are to refund it as quickly as possible. Okay. As you can see, we go back to 2009 again. It wasn't refunded because, for whatever reason, people didn't know that it was an overpayment. We know now. And so we feel that this needs to be corrected. We've talked with the treasurer's office. We've brainstormed. We've tried to figure out any way that we can to do this, but every time we've stumbled onto a way to do it, there was a negative consequence. Such as in 2009, if somebody's owed the money and we try to create the overpayment now to put it in 2023, it opens the books back up on 2009 and shows a negative account from 2009. So the treasurer's office has said that won't work for them. That's going to cause all kinds of problems. So when all's said and done, they came up with the best solution would be to each one of these accounts issue a check to each one of these accounts. Now this, keep in mind, we collected the money and we spent the money. So it's gone. So in order to write a check now,
We need some money.
and refund the money, this will be money out of the county's pocket, and it's not budgeted for. And you can see by the totals, we're talking, and I think Rick wrote up the thing that he gave to Rosa, and I'm not sure what he gave her made it exactly as it needed to be on this sheet. It's basically saying that I don't have that one right up.
$15,000.
Yeah,
Is that on the bottom of the
Is the
spreadsheet?
green one in the bottom?
I do have some numbers at the bottom of my spreadsheet, but they didn't exactly match what Rick turned into Rosa. So the bottom, yeah. So the way these columns that you're looking at, we had hoped that what we could do is take an overpayment from any of these years, and anybody that was still currently active that still pays taxes, we could just move the credit from that year into their current account, so the bill that they got would be less. But the treasurer's office says we can't do that. Okay, so what the blue and the purple columns were originally saying is that the blue are people that we do business with still. That, again, our original intent was to just issue a credit into their accounts, and the purple was people that we have no association with anymore. So we were looking at, only sending out a total of $2,175 in checks, and everything else of the $16,700 and change would be moved to credits on future billing. But again, we can't do that according to the treasurer's office. She says we have to write checks. So now, that was the number that I think was on the descriptor thing.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Right here, it's
Is it this one
sideways.
here?
Can't really
Overpaid?
read it. So what does
Okay,
that say?
no, hold on, let me flip it for you.
Is the reason why she said she couldn't, is it a legal reason, or is it like a software issue or something?
Yeah, I didn't get into the weeds with her on that. She said it would just create a nightmare. And it would open up books from years that have already been closed, which is, that's all I needed to hear.
So you got 14,157,000 to be paid out,
Right.
$2,626 to be credited to 2024 taxes.
Correct,
So we'd have to come up with the 14,157.
correct.
But isn't that a portion of everybody's school district, and wouldn't they have to pay that back as well on their?
That, yeah, I mean, that was a question that I had too. It's like, well, at one point in time, they would have gotten more money issued to them than what they were entitled to. I don't have that
Okay.
information. If that's something that we want to put the treasurer's office in charge of, figure out what the percentage was and what the dollars versus what should have been, that's something they can do. I don't have those tools at my disposal. So,
Okay.
so
The school district, the special service
Yeah,
district.
you have to get everybody that you overpaid
Oh my
per rata
gosh.
share.
So again, Bruce's question's relevant. relevant here. How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? If you're doing things right in our office, when somebody overpays, we're not going to send the check back to them. We're going to deposit the check, and then we have to immediately create an overpayment, which goes to an overpayment report that we now have. We used to not have that. There was no reconciliation between the treasurer's office and what they're sending out and the assessor's office in what they should have been sending out. Now we're talking to each other. We've got this report. Anything that's an overpayment, and it happens, anything that's an overpayment now will be created as an overpayment, and it'll automatically be moved into the next year as a credit. These problems won't come up again going forward. Should not. I mean, you can never say never, right? But they should not.
So what we do with the purple money, we go find the people that are dead and the relatives? Or
Some. I mean, some we know that they just went out of business, but we know who owned the business. So we can issue it that way.
Make a motion, we do what we need to do.
What I would like to see, if I can offer a suggestion on a motion? We're still working on this. So what I think we're looking for this body to do is recognize that there are overpayments that need to be credited in some fashion to the account owners. And if we can find some of them, we may be able to move them against their real property taxes and give them a credit so that we're not having to issue a check. But that's probably only 23's stuff that we could do.
That you can come back when you have a solution, a better solution, and then
We can do that. My hope was that, as Bruce said, we just give us the ability to continue working on it. And if we find a better solution, then we have the right to just employ that without.
Send it up to the Utah Ombudsman's office.
Oh, you're talking like for the say that one more time.
State treasurer.
Tax commission and
Yeah, but
No, the state treasurer manages all of those unclaimed
yeah,
dollars.
rather than you could just send up one check to them with the invoice of what belongs to you and they'll post it.
Oh, that
And then these people, they see their name posted there.
I see what you're saying.
reclaim that.
Claim their money that way. All they have to do is show.
Oh, like they have it in the paper when they publish the money?
Mycash.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm certainly thinking that's a good idea. It didn't come up in our discussions with the treasurer's office, so I would like to leave that decision with her on what's best to do. If we can just get, and I don't even know if it's possible, but if we can just get kind of a motion that says it's owed, let's get it paid. Let's just do it the smartest, least cost way to us, and most efficient way. Can that be a motion?
Sure. Like I said, do what we need to do.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Adams. Commissioner, did you second that?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Stubbs seconds that motion. All right. You've been granted the authority as soon as we vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Three in favor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work.
Wow.
Way to be on it. Way to spot that. That's pretty cool. Not cool on money wise, but it's cool that you were able to find it. All right, so this next one is consideration and approval to refund overpaid past due personal property accounts from 2023. Am I on the right one? You're gonna have to direct me. Let me make sure.
So go.
That's the.
It
Needles
should be Nature Conservancy and Needles Outpost.
This is the one right there.
That's the one. Okay. And I really, really, really appreciate Randy's work on all these difficult problems and situations that we have ran across, and we're just really cleaning up the books, cleaning up the house, getting things straight. And this is one of those cleaning items that came before us. So Needles Outpost, everyone knows where Needles Outpost is. Out by Canyonlands, it's historically it was a state section, 640 acres, state school land, trust land, and they built this business on that property, and it serviced the Needles area and the Dugout Ranch and all that country. So historically, so state lands own the land, own the property, and then the business was leased out to whoever would run the business. And we call this, what do we call it, Randy? A privilege tax, excuse me, my mind just, it's a privilege tax. Aramark is doing the same thing at Halls Crossing. It's a privilege tax. So for all those years that Needles Outpost existed, they would pay their personal property. So that's, I call it a tool tax. It's their equipment, it's the trailer house, it's the buildings, as a privilege tax under personal property. Now, they got behind, got a new leasee, they got behind on their personal property. We started looking into this and sending them bills and statements, and they were coming in and they started paying on what was due, on what was outstanding on their account on personal property. And they were struggling. They're struggling as a business, like a lot of businesses are. And we started thinking about this. 2017, that school trust land section, 640 acres, was sold to the Nature Conservancy for about $2.5 million. The Nature Conservancy bought everything on that property. Okay. Oh, so this last year they came in, the Needles Outpost people came in, and we were working with them and go like, oh my goodness, you guys don't own this. The Nature Conservancy owns this. And so starting in 2018, going forward, the Nature Conservancy should have been paying all the taxes on that property. Personal property taxes, all the real property taxes. So the buildings, the attached buildings, attached structures, attached equipment on that property should be put onto the real property, onto the land. And then the personal property would be the equipment. It was a small cafe at one time, and so they have some equipment in their store. They have freezers and different things. So the Needles Outpost leasee, these people have paid us $1,800 in personal property taxes that they didn't owe. The Nature Conservancy should have been paying it. So what we're asking this afternoon, is that the commission approve a refund of $1,800 back to the leasee of this property on their personal property accounts. And we've already moved the buildings and what we can attached to the Nature Conservancy to the real property, and the personal property account is okay at this point. But these folks did not owe that money. So
is the new owner gonna pay those taxes going back or not?
the Nature Conservancy, we want to bill them the back.
Okay, so basically
Taxes.
it's just a refund to somebody and having a new
Right.
replacement.
By law, that current year and 3 additional years, and bill them for that. Will they
So
pay
we
it?
go back to 2020 to the Nature Conservancy. So 18 and 19, again, we cannot go back on the personal property to the Nature Conservancy. So again, we'd like that to be taken off the books, because and nobody's going to owe anything and nobody's going to lose anything. 2018, 2019, when we take those off. But going forward, 2020, it'll be the Nature Conservancy. And I believe the Nature Conservancy can pay their bills.
Well, this is easier than the other ones.
This was actually kind of fun, actually, because these people were so struggling out there, and they've had some hard years, hard
I
times.
bet they're glad, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll make a motion that we approve.
All right, motion by Commissioner Stubbs. That's to refund. It's Nature Conservancy
To the Needles
or
Outpost.
Needles Outpost.
Needles Outpost.
And then also write off of the delinquent tax from 2018 to 19. And then billing the actual property owner from 2020 to 2024. Second by Commissioner Adams. Any other questions, comments?
I've got one question. So, if it was owned by the state of Utah, the one section, and these people were the lessees, right?
Correct.
And so they were paying their taxes in that scenario. But then the state sold it to the Conservancy District.
Nature Conservancy, right. Right.
But the people are still lessees under the Conservancy District. So I don't see what's changed. That's my question.
So what
Why are they
changed?
being absolved from taxes? They're still the lessees.
Right. So what changed was when the property owner actually owned the buildings. So when the Nature Conservancy bought it from the state of Utah, they bought everything on the property. They bought every improvement, every gas pump and everything, shower house and all that kind of stuff. And we should have caught it years ago when that sale went through. So what happens now is the real property has now got the improvements on it, the home, I mean the trailer house and the shop and the building, the store and the little cafe, and the RV park as well. They have a really nice RV park up there. And so that all went to the real property. Now, once you put all that on the real property, and based on our exemption limits now, the personal property, they're actually exempt from personal property because there's just not a lot of personal property there left. So, yeah.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor.
Oh, thank you, commissioners. We appreciate this because we can clean up our books, go forward. We don't have to do the back. We can go forward and do things forward, and we can spend our time in more
Doing other
productive.
things. You can go skipping back to your office, huh?
Well, now we work with Glennis and we do some things. And, yeah. So thank you.
We'll get those signed and
Appreciate
get to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the work.
And we do appreciate Mitch over here for his time too. He's really helped us. So
Yeah,
thank you,
he's-
Mitch.
He's good.
He doesn't make near enough money for what he does.
He second that.
But he gets to enjoy San Juan County.
Be back home, huh? Okay, item number 19. We're consideration and approval of the professional services agreement with Aviation and Wolpert Company LLC in San Juan County for the 2024 Cal Black automated weather observing system upgrades, as well as the beacon upgrades to the airport. This is just a continuation of last year's Cal Black airport project. Total project costs on here around $351,000. County's portion is only $16,447. Part of it is the built funds from the current administration that awarded those funds that can be used multiple years as well. In the airport system each year we get entitlement funds, and in the past when we didn't have a project or didn't use all of our entitlement funds, we would loan those out to other counties or other airports throughout the state to use those. And so with this project here, it's taking that all-weather system and upgrading that. They tell me that the computer there is something that they used in the Apollo missions, and we really need to upgrade that. The all-weather
There's lots
system
of
is
pages.
you can
Lots
tune
of
into
pages.
to the broadcast frequency for the airport and get the current weather. Or if you're flying in, you can tune it in your airplane and hear weather conditions so you know whether or not to land there. The beacon is also part of this project where we're going to take and upgrade not the tower that it stands on, but the actual light itself. We've had a myriad of problems and had trouble locating the motors for it. It's just an old beacon, and so with that, we will upgrade that beacon, and we will have to pay. There's about $800 in an invoice right now to get that system working until we can actually get it replaced. There's, like I mentioned, and you've seen in the consent agenda, that purchase order for batteries. Well, the beacon light and runway lights were both in failure mode for us when somebody flew over. And with that, we had discovered in that beacon light, we replaced the motor last year, was hoping everything good. Maybe it was too good of a motor and stripped the gears. And so we'll purchase the gears right now and hopefully have a system that we can interchange those gears out in the future. But until that project takes off and is often contracted, we'll kind of do these patches and these fixes until we can get more at it. But this year's project is just relocating that AWAS. We had gone through, we wanted to get it last year. Then we learned that our environmental impact study that we performed on the airport back when we had purchased it had expired. Laws have changed, and so we had to go back out with another EIS. We did that last year, and now we're on to the project. And so that's
Well,
what this
you know,
contract represents here.
I think this project is for our future.
Absolutely.
It's a good investment, and so I trying to understand all the pages you have, and
Very confusing.
I went over them, and I think this is a worthwhile thing, and so I don't think I'm willing to make a motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Stubbs,
Second.
second by Commissioner Adams. Any other comments or questions before we vote? No one? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor to approve. Next item.
Okay, this next item, let me spin to it real fast. Speed up for us after I get through all the contract pages. Anytime you do a federal project, there's tons and tons of pages that come in their contracts. And just to note, and it's always something just to keep in the back of your mind, once you've taken federal funds for your airport, you're obligated to continue to maintain the airport for 20 years. And so we are super appreciative of the federal government and their funding, or we wouldn't be able to do half of the projects, probably 2/3 of the projects that come for the airport. Okay, this next one here is consideration and approval of an ordinance to amend the San Juan County zoning ordinance to clarify that short-term rental uses is prohibited in Spanish Valley Residential District. Part of this is a correction, is there's just confusion within the Planning Commission. We had taken this to the Planning Commission last Thursday night, had a public hearing for it. Didn't receive any public, well, we received one public comment through email that I distributed it to the Planning Commission. Once they heard our presentation and understood why we were clarifying the ordinances, then it made a little bit more sense. And then the public comments that we did receive were pretty mild, mainly that they're definitely in support of not having the short-term rental uses in that Spanish Valley Residential District. And so there is one thing that Mitch had mentioned that. So in the Planning Commission, some of the comments that they wanted was a better definition for accessory dwelling units. I worked through Bart on making sure that we had the changes in here for you from Planning Commission. Mitch had also mentioned that we do need to have language that's referencing in here. If you look at the residential uses that are allowed in here, you have accessory dwelling unit. That was not there before. accessory uses. So we have accessory buildings defined in our current ordinances, but there's nothing defining really what accessory uses are. And so Mitch is in an email, he provided me additional language, and it's in our new ordinances. It just hasn't been adopted yet.
I talked with Bart about that.
Are you okay with that? We don't need to add it?
Yeah, I think that, and the other thing is, in the definition of accessory dwelling has changed a little bit.
It did.
But I think Bart and I are okay with
Okay.
it,
Okay.
the way it is.
Okay. All right. So we're good.
Probably the lesser of two evils.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're keeping the ordinance as it is written, as is presented to you. This is literally something that will help staff. It'll help the planning commission kind
It
of
will
get out
help
of
the
this
neighbors.
argument. It'll help the neighbors understand where it's prohibited, where it's
Well,
not.
it just, so they don't have to be the policemen,
Correct.
They can enjoy the neighbors without being the one, so.
Yep. And so that's what you have before you today with this.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Adams,
I second.
seconded by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 That's 3 in favor.
Okay.
Ordinance is approved.
Matt, I got to leave at one. Can you take the other ordinance and then? I think
So this is the settlement agreement that we're on next.
Yeah, can you skip that one and go to the ordinance and then
Go to 22.
you can handle the settlement?
Okay. So are you guys okay with that?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay. So we'll switch to ordinance replacing and amending the process for appeals and land use decisions. Mitch, I don't know if you want to tee this up, but I can kind of give a backstory with it. A lot of this is we've adopted and we continue to try to refine our administrative law judge process here and hearings in general. They can take a lot of time, and you've seen in the past where I've had to go out and get another ALJ to work through on our processes. And so as we looked at our ordinances, we wanted to refine it, kind of tighten it a little bit further so that there are, and you'll see this even come out with legislative changes, is the state legislators are really hard pressing planning and zoning to be timely and in a timely fashion. And, subdivision process on preliminary plats now, I mean, we've got, I think it's 13 days to get those out. And we don't have a lot of staff, and we try, but they're just wanting these processes sped up a little bit more. This is kind of what that does. It makes some refinements. When I spoke to Johnny with USEP, there was some concern with our ordinance and making sure that we were compliant with what other counties are doing throughout the state, not just the timeliness, but also how it's structured. And so he had also recommended that we take another look back at our appeal process and make sure that we're meeting state code and state law. And so I don't know if you wanted anything else to add to that,
I
or
think it just makes it more streamlined.
Yep.
And more efficient and more consistent throughout.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Adams,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other comments or
I
questions?
just want to say that I had the opportunity to come to the planning and zoning meeting, and it's really, for me, when these things come before me, I feel really good because I have seen the process. They don't take it lightly, the decisions that they make here. They're really think in different ways. And it's interesting to see them, how they come together in the end, and they, with the help of our lawyers here and some on Zoom. I feel really good when I approve something because I have seen the process, and it saved lots of anxiety for me to wander, vacillating back and forth, because I have seen the process. So
And you think the attorney needs a big raise?
You have a nice
More
week.
comp time.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Mitch. I appreciate it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor. Okay. Moving to the next item.
Okay, back to item 21, consideration and approval of a settlement agreement and release made by San Juan Rentals LLC and JP Krantz Moab LLC in San Juan County. This one here is we've gone through and looked at kind of past decisions, how they were made. This one here with these developers, had gone through our appeal process. The appeal, our ALJ ruled one way. Thankfully, they took it to the state ombudsman office. We received a different opinion, so we were getting varying opinions from different individuals, different attorneys. This here is the allowance with this settlement agreement, allowing them with these properties that are indicated in the actual settlement agreement. It allows them to either continue the overnight and short-term rentals on those properties, or it allows them to develop on those properties for the overnight and short-term rental process. And now followed with this is you have the clarifying language so that everybody is clear, in the Spanish Valley Residential District, that they are not allowed. But where these were pretty much in a transitional phase between staff and different attorneys looking at it, we felt best, instead of going to district court and trying to fight a battle in district court, that we would just settle for these developers here for those properties that are specifically mentioned in the settlement agreement.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Adams,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor.
Okay, now let's spin down to this next one. So 23 now, consideration and approval of the notice of award for bond counsel services to ETJ Law Incorporated for the San Juan County's Municipal Building Authority issuance of non-voted lease revenue bonds to be purchased by the Permanent Community Impact Fund Board, also known as CIB. We had issued that proposal on December 28th and received about 4 responses that came back on that, varying costs, surprisingly, varying costs. This one seemed to be they had performed work in Blanding City, so they've done work here in San Juan County, and that was one of the preferences that we were looking for here, as well as their total cost for bond counsel services is around $6,000. Some of them had a proposed rate of $30,000, so pretty expensive. But these ones kind of seem to be the most responsive and responsible bid that we'd received.
Okay. What you like to? What do we
I'll
want to do,
make a motion
Commissioner?
to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stubbs, second by Commissioner Adams. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor.
Okay, thank you. That will start the next process of architects and contractors for that building there. All right, item number 24, consideration and approval of an intergovernmental agreement with South Central Planning and Development Commission and San Juan County for permitting and planning system software. Let's see, let me get to that on here, so you can see kind of the financial impact. This one is when we all attended UAC conference. It would have been the fall conference or winter conference in St. George. This entity was there, and we pulled them aside and just kind of explained our situation. My Government Online is what it's called. We explained our situation, and then we had them. I looked at their software, and then I pulled staff in to look at it as well. This is a governmental entity that created an in-house package to manage their buildings permits, manage their planning, business licenses, code enforcement side of it. And it's a lot of the program. What we liked about it is there are a lot of efficiencies to be gained by going to their product. One, it's built by government for government, and so they understand what we do. But probably more importantly is the automation behind it. Right now, you can go in and you can sign up for a building permit online, but the entity really never knows where that process is at, what inspections are taking place. There's no communication back from that. With this system, we can place it on our website. It'll take instant payment as they upload their plans for a building permit. All of that stuff is right there. It sends it automatically to whoever we have in the process so that we can get the reviews. Right now, it takes one of our employees behind the scenes, so they can't be out doing building inspections. They got to be at the desk to be able to route it. Well, this will automatically route it. It'll automatically update those people that submitted the permit. It'll update, if, say, for example, the road department looks at plans and has concerns with a right-of-way issue, and he notes it on there. That notation automatically goes right back to the individual that put in the request. And so there's kind of this instant communication that's back to the public so that they'll always be aware of it. On the planning side of it, and you heard me mention today, is by state code wise, we have to have our preliminary plan review done within this window. Well, once the reason we like it for the planning side of it is somebody uploads their subdivision plat to the system. It automatically sends it out to all those people that need to review it, captures their review, and then that developer or that surveyor is instantaneously notified that somebody's checked off on this or there's review comments they need to go through. It'll collect payment on the system, and it's similar with the building permit or the business licensing side of it. Is right now it takes an employee to go in there and trigger, hey, your renewal's up this year. The system and software will automatically do all that for us now so that we don't have to do as much labor on our end of it. There is a cost with it. Right now we've utilized an iWork program, and we've had it for years now, since 2017, and that's as far back as our accounting program goes, so it's probably further back. We've used that system. There's just no automation to it, so it's data in and then we have to pull data out. With this program, we'll have to keep both of them up and running until we can integrate everything over. But once that integration is full, we will just kind of continue to use our new program and feather out the old one as we can. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. But overall, process-wise, this will help speed up staff time. But the part that I like is it's integrated and more transparent for those individuals of our public that are needing the service. They will know. They can go in and calendar an invitation for building inspection. That's something that takes a phone call right now or an email to our staff. And if they're not in the office, they won't get it. If they're not in the office for a couple of days, they won't get it for a couple of days. This way, they can go in and mark on a calendar when he's already available and has already listed that on his calendar to book a time. And so we're hoping with the system, it'll speed it up, our processes in general. There are the funds that we do have in there for the one, but we also have additional funds in there to upgrade our systems and become less face-to-face with individuals.
All right, commissioners, I got a request for intergovernmental agreement with South Central Planning and Development Commission.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner
Second.
Stubbs to approve, seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor for approval. I think
Thank
we're
you.
done with our business action items. So now we go to the greatest part of the agenda, commission reports. who would like to start?
I'll start mine short.
All right, Commissioner Adams.
I'm gonna go to the legislature for the next 6 weeks.
We'll follow you.
I think you have a good idea there. We'll follow you. How about you, Commissioner Stubbs?
Okay. We started the year running on the 2nd. I spent Monday getting ready for reading the material, and then on the 2nd we had a meeting, and after that I took up a few days off and I went spend it with family and being sick. I got really sick. Every time I stop I get sick. Anyway, and then the following week, on the week of the 8th, I had some I named the wrong day. I did FEMA training. I started trying to figure out how I can do the FEMA training, and I work for start on Friday and Saturday, and then on Monday the 1st I was able to pass the FEMA test. And then I took a trip to Price, and then on Wednesday, and then on Thursday I have a regular monthly meeting with the seven county infrastructure coalition, and that was always exciting. We get to talk about railroads and different things regarding San Juan County. The engineers did report on the water water settlement with the tribe, and they feel like they're making headways there, getting to be familiarized with it, with the system, and they've been meeting on Fridays and having Zoom meeting with that, and there's still the road to from Olchedo to Navajo Mountain. It got put in there, kept on the agenda, but just basically have a minimum funds that will keep the project going, because once you start the project, you have to start over and it becomes more expensive. So they got enough money to kind of keep that going, anyway, so they do have the money that was given from the state of Utah to do some engineering for that too. So anyway, and the rest of the week I have been trying to play catch up with a scholarship called it had to be with leadership development, and I kind of started behind because they not notified me to the day before we're starting, but I pretty caught up, and I noticed Commissioner Harvey is there, and I don't know if you playing catch up or you just resuming from the last time you were there, but we just keep thinking that another time would be a better time to do it, and I find out there's never a good time, so we're in the mess, and it's going to go to April 15, so it's going to be solid, but I think it'll feel good when it's done.
Yeah.
And it has good things and lots of good people there and lots of new ideas. And anyway, so that's what we have, and also we'll be going to legislature, and usually we travel on Tuesday. After this meeting, we're leaving for Salt Lake, and we come back, return on Friday, and then Saturday I have a meeting in Olchedo, a chapter meeting, and I think Monday this one on Westwater. So.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Stubbs. For my report, just keeping it short, Thursday was the scheduled chapter meeting with Mexican Water, but due to the weather, they canceled. So I'm looking to they'll probably reschedule their meeting in Mexican Water sometimes this week, if not next. I know Red Mesa chapter is having their meeting right now, so I'll probably be zipping down there. Anna chapter, I know they had tentatively scheduled their chapter meeting for the 19th this Friday, but I think that's been rescheduled to Monday, the 22nd. I think next week I will plan on going up to Salt Lake, so probably use that time to be in person up that week. And
UAC Day on the Hill is
Thursday.
Wednesday.
Thursday at 10 a.m. Yeah. So
And Mac, hopefully they sent us an invoice.
Okay.
I don't know if they did or not, but I tried to schedule everybody.
Okay.
yeah, but as far as other meetings, we're just waiting for a meeting with Navajo Nation Public Safety to start the conversation on the mutual assist agreement. Hopefully we get that done soon. I'll keep my report at that. That's probably good enough, but thank you, commissioners. Happy New Year. If I didn't wish you a Happy New Year. Be safe with your driving. I think they're expecting some more inclement weather. So, but be careful as you drive. Use both hands at the steering wheel. That's all I have. I think that concludes our
Make a motion, we adjourn.
motion by Commissioner Adams,
A second.
second by Commissioner Stubbs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3 in favor. That closes our meeting for Commissioner at 1:07. Thank you much.
Do we have anything after?
Today?
Yeah.
Nope.
Nothing. Okay.
Having a what?
Sometimes we have a meeting after this meeting.